All right, welcome back for day 3. We are working now into some twists, and particularly the side body. So that's a little bit of your core, it's a little bit of your quadratus lumbarum, often referred to as your QLs. Doesn't matter if you know what they are or not, we're just gonna work into them and then you'll know exactly where they are. So today is just a simple reminder that perfection of your yoga asana, which is the physical posture, right, as defined by the Yoga Sutras, is a comfortable, stable position. Not a stressful, frantic one, right? Stable, comfortable position for the physical body, for your breath, and ideally over time, your mind as well, right? So bring any props that you'd like with you as we get moving today. We're going to start on your back with a little bit of supine twist. So some familiar space, probably for most of us. And if not, no worries. Come onto your back, extend the left leg down. We're simply drawing the right knee across the body. So right arm is reaching out, and you want to keep that reach in the right fingertips. Don't worry about whether this knee reaches the mat. If it's lifted, you may want to place something underneath it. It's just a different stretch. You're going to feel it come across, glute minimus, medius across, maybe what feels like IT band across the hip. If you bring your knee all the way down, you're going to feel it a little more in your lower back or across your sacrum. And you're going to feel it a little bit differently every day based on whatever you're up to. So keeping in mind that we use this practice to support our bodies, right? To support our breath, to support whatever you're doing throughout the day. Not to shove yourself into some crazy physical posture. That serves no purpose. So wherever you've landed, wherever gravity has taken you, it's perfect. All you want to do is breathe one more cycle of breath there, and then we're going to take ourselves gently back through center, taking out all the stress. This is really about feeling better, breathing better, carving out a little space in our day for ourselves. So release all the tension. Let yourself really sink on in here. And allow for this practice to work on you. You got plenty of work throughout the day, I'm sure, so you don't really need much more of it. You can expand the ribs, fill up. It doesn't need to be any kind of breath, although you may want to start to give it a little bit of energy. Maybe you need something more soothing or grounding, or maybe you need a little more energy in your day. So just start to notice what feels a little bit better, what feels a little more natural. You take one more breath here. And then in time, draw yourself gently back through center. Scooch those hips underneath you. And as you tuck your chin, maybe tuck the knees, you're gonna roll right up onto your bum. You're gonna pause for a moment to extend the right leg and tuck the left heel behind you. So it's similar to something called Janu Sirsasana, which some of you are likely to be familiar with. Instead of taking your foot to your inner thigh, you're gonna place it behind you. We're gonna take a little seated twist here. You use fingertips to move your heart to follow the left knee, which is going to be a place of relative comfort, if you will. Some of our knees are going to be a little farther forward or even farther, or maybe in the other direction. It doesn't matter. We want to support our bodies where they're at. No better place to start. So go ahead and bring that right elbow down, maybe your forearm down. It can come to a block, a mat, and then we're going to reach left arm up and over. Pause. Roll the thumb behind you, roll the shoulder down. And maybe instead of just sinking towards the floor, you're going to press your low ribs, right, left low ribs towards the sky. While you're doing that, engage the right quad. Engage, a little flex on those toes, and we're reaching. I prefer to have the hand at the belly, or sort of a reminder to stay slightly engaged. And while you may be able to touch the toes, that's not really the goal. Although you'll see that in the full pose, right? Both arms reaching. That might not provide the best stretch. Maybe the best stretch happens moving your gaze towards the floor. Maybe it's reaching to the sky, or for a half bind in which you would roll the thumb towards the floor, bend the elbow, reach behind you. Might even find your hip crease or inner thigh. Point being, you adjust to support your body. Slowly reach up through center. Nothing glamorous, we're just gonna take it to the other side. So maybe you start first by tucking the right heel behind you and then extending that left leg. Now, you just saw me plant the palms and lift the bum. Sometimes that helps move some of the flesh out from underneath that left sits bone. Tented fingertips, slight seated twist to move our heart towards that right knee so that we have this lateral flexion. Again, left elbow comes down. As you reach up and over, engage the left quad, a little flex in those left toes. And then we're going to start to reach. If you're reaching up and over, we're rolling the thumb behind us, rolling the shoulder down, and really working the stretch in the side body. So while you may be able to reach for the toes, it's not really the goal per se. You want to figure out where in that spectrum is the most supported stretch for you today. So deeper doesn't necessarily mean a more exaggerated stretch. Sometimes it's a space where you can really breathe into another 2. Again, notice where your gaze is, where your head is. You also want to support your neck. And then we'll rise back up to seated. So again, as you kind of tuck your knees underneath you, if you need a little cat and cow, right, in your tabletop or anything else, go ahead and take it. Otherwise, we're moving towards that downward facing dog. Plant palms, plant feet, drive your sits bones to the sky. You're gonna rinse the shoulders, don't forget about them, and we'll step the right foot forward through low lunge. Take a moment. Inhale, lengthen the spine, right? Engage the hips. Inhale is gonna breathe your right fingers to the sky. Now you get the ball of that back foot so you can move around a little. You can always bring the back knee down. It's the same pose. And then slowly, we're moving right into crescent lunge twist. So same setup, but we're gonna find those prayer palms at your heart. Hook that left elbow on top of your thigh. And then use that to press your heart away from the thigh first. Again, you can do this with the back knee down. Shift your gaze, and then press your shoulders down. We're not trying to wrench ourselves around, so squeeze the belly, re-level the hips, support the whole length of your spine. If you brought the back knee down, you're gonna lift it, and then as you press off the ball of the back foot, we're coming all the way up to standing, left knee comes with you, and we'll find a revolved Utthita Hasta. So again, working from the core, engage your standing hip, squeeze up on that biscuit. You can always reach for the outside of the knee. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to rinse. You might roll that left palm to the sky. You might peek out over those fingertips. And if you're looking for a little more work, you can take your peace fingers to that big toe. Make sure your leg is still doing most of the work and go for full extension. Or you can keep a slight bend in the knee as a little bridge to get there. Wherever you are, slowly sweep into what's called Utkatasana. Both feet land, your toes touch, knees touch, or your hips with distance with all of those joints. Breath into reach, make sure your hips are way back so you're more in the heels. You can check in, you might pitter-patter the balls of your feet, palms come to heart. Squeeze the belly in, and then we're gonna hook that left elbow one more time, right? Press the shoulders down and back. Now I'm exaggerating, you don't need to do the same thing. Set your gaze where it's comfortable on the neck. Keeping in mind you can always open the arms, but hips are level. For 3, 2, right? That balancing act that you're doing is the work. You don't need to add much more than that. And then take your time to release. Inhale to a long spine. And then we're gonna step the right foot behind us. We'll find that low lunge one more time. So with buoyancy, maybe something underneath your palm. We're gonna reach left fingers to the sky. Keep in mind, you can always bring the back knee down. Either way, you are squeezing some strength in the hip. And then we're gonna find those prayer palms. So you can stay here. You might even stay lifted. Otherwise, when we hook the elbow, that's really to create Tadasana shoulders, which is foundation in a long spine. All right, shoulders are pressing gently down, gently behind you. And then you're gonna pay attention to where your head is, where your gaze is, and breathe. Level hips. 2. If your knee is down, you're gonna lift it. Use the ball of your back foot to press yourself slowly up to standing. Bring that right knee with you. And we're gonna revolve your Utthita Hasta. So look, core activation. You can always reach on the outside of your knee, but you wanna engage the standing hip. Maybe roll those right palms to the sky. You can gaze out over your hand. And if you're looking for just a little more, peace fingers to the big toe. Use the strength of your leg to extend. 3, right? You could do that and still bend the knee. It's a little bridge to get there. Just privilege and extending that standing hip. And then slowly, wherever you are, we'll drop right into Utkatasana. Remember, hips are way back, so there's balance even in this pose. Palms come to heart, and as you start to find that twist, remember, we're not wrenching ourselves around. We want to use the strength to get there first, and then just place the elbow. Use that to press away and to lengthen, as opposed to kind of wrenching us over. Drop that right shoulder. Set your gaze somewhere, your head somewhere, so that you've created a long spine, tailbone, all the way up to the base of your skull, right? That doesn't stop at your shoulders. Nice job. Exhale, release. Forward fold. Inhale to a flat back. And then plant your palms. We're gonna step into high plank, and then we're gonna come all the way down. Unless you really love some high plank, side plank business. And we're gonna take our arms out to a T. So you're gonna start with probably left palm down, left cheek down. Plant your right palm. Use that to press your right leg to fall behind you. And we're gonna take straight legs. So pay attention to that left shoulder for a moment. Fan out those left fingers. Keep them gently pressed into the floor. And give yourself a little time to sink in here. Drop the weight of your head. Let the breath slowly come back. And find what's called perfection of your yoga posture. So perfection, as defined by your Yoga Sutras, is a loosening of the effort. So let go of all the work. It's probably the opposite of what most of us thought it was. Now, I'll be honest, I tend to make some things up, but this is not one of them, so. Yeah, who knew? Perfection. Loosening up of the effort. As you roll back through center, we're gonna just take it to the other side. So move slowly. Right hand is reaching out. Right cheek comes down. And then slow and controlled, left leg rolls behind us. Again, pay attention to that right shoulder, fan fingers. Sink into the mat. We're really looking for the release. So as a reminder, all of that work to get here, where you can let go of all the effort, any holding in the body, and find that deep release. So again, nothing revolutionary. This is an ancient practice. Physical practice has developed over probably the last 100 years to include many more postures. right? But in essence, this is 3,000 to 5,000 years old. Nothing has been recreated. It just works. You just got to show up and do a little bit of something for the physical body and your mind. And you've done that so with gratitude for yourself. And this practice, rolling back to center, those around us. Maybe you just stay here and squish into the mat. Otherwise, one last time, come through tabletop. You can just sit back onto your heels if that's comfortable. And again, acknowledge the work that you've done. So important to show up for yourself just like you do everyone else in your life. So, love you to pieces. We'll see you tomorrow.